Hey, welcome back, everybody. Craig Peterson here, WGAN, online at craigpeterson.com. Hey, let's pick up our interview with Barry Friedman. In case you were wondering what the name of his book is, it's I Love Me More Than Sugar. I really enjoyed it. This guy is a great guy. He's been involved with so many things over the years, from being on the Johnny Carson show, doing juggling, through today, where I actually met him because he's one of the coaches in one of the programs that I do. Very, very great guy. And we're going to talk more with him about the whole sugar thing.
I wasn't popular for a long time when I first tried this. Then it started to get like, wow, are you still doing that? You know, the curiosity started. Then I wrote a book about it and got on TV shows as fast as I wanted to dial up and call them and fly in and be on morning news. So there's a call for it. It's a curiosity. And soon it will be something we really, really have to look at.
Yeah, I think it's going to be common sense in a few years from now. We're speaking with Barry Friedman, and he has written a book, and I want to get into that now. I'm glad you brought it up, because this is part of that 30-day exercise that you talked about. There's a plan in there. Why don't you tell us a bit about the book? I found it over on Amazon, easy enough to find. And what's it doing? How's it going to help people?
Yeah, you know, this book it's very non-scientific. I'm my buddy Penn Jillette of Penn and Teller, the taller, bigger half of Penn and Teller. He lost over 100 pounds on it. He wrote a great book called Presto: How I Lost 100 Pounds. He's got some good subtitle for it. But his first line in the book, and I'm one of the few people in the world that can jump onto his tagline: "If you take diet advice from a juggler, you're an idiot." Because that's what he wrote in the book. But so I wrote the book really from just a perspective of a guy who did it, a guy who, you know, I traveled around a lot. I did shows for 34 years, TED conferences, TVs. I was around a lot of really good sugar, and I used to love it all. So towards the end of my career, I retired in 2016 from that. But from 2012 on, no added sugar. And it's a very big, so I tell some stories about that, some substitutions we can do, where it starts, what it does to us, challenges you may come across. And then the 30 days is walked through very scientifically. I ran an online program for 5.5 years and helped thousands of people do a 30-day challenge. What that gave me, Craig, was a massive database of where people are on day 1, day 2, day 3. And it is a traceable spike. I mean, you can really see. My day 4 was some of the most dramatic, honestly, one of the most dramatic days of my life. And you know, I called it in the book Ground Zero. Day 4, Ground Zero. It was crashing. I remember laying on a massage table, tears just running down my face, not even because of not having sugar, but just, I knew that moment was a turning point. My wife she was like holding me down, deep massage as hard as she could just to get stuff moving in my body. But I really felt like it was the door of the threshold into a new life. I think if I would have folded at that point and just grabbed something, I would have just gone back. But going past that day, that was when everything changed. So we in the community, we often talk about what's your day 4. And sometimes it's day 4 for other people, but there is a time when it's that's the hero's journey part. That's where you grab the mystical apprentice who goes with you and the mentor who goes with you and walks you through. So if that helps, I would love to walk you through that vis-a-vis the book. And we have a Facebook page with, 50, 60,000 people on it who have all dabbled in some realm of it. And it's a movement. As I said at the beginning, we will soon look at this the same way we now look at tobacco, no doubt about it.
And the book is called I Love Me More Than Sugar. Barry Friedman is the author. Anything else you'd like to add here, Barry, before we go?
Oh, I would just love to tell everybody that if something in this conversation spoke to you, trust it, don't question it. There's a fight or flight reflex in the brain, that little gland, that little almond-shaped gland whose job it is to take us away from things that are scary. If something touched you before it really has a chance to go through that part of the brain, take a chance, tell yourself that there is a time for doing this. Know that sugar is not designed for satisfaction or completion. They never put it through that kind of a test. It's always about getting more. And like I said, we will look at this as a real downfall of our society when it started to be added to everything and it became normal. And like Craig said, we started hearing commercials about how we owe it to ourselves, how we deserve this. So trust the gut influence, the gut instinct if you heard something, and take a chance. Make a little
Now, I'm
goal for
going to
yourself.
put a link on my website as well, obviously, to this interview. You mentioned a Facebook page. What's the name of that group or that page, Barry?
Yeah, 30 Days Sugar Free with an S. 30 Days Sugar Free is Facebook group. And yeah, we post some stuff in there from time to time.
All right. And it's a community, and I think that's something that can really help.
Yeah, boy, does it ever. Easy to feel alone in this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Especially in this day and age. Again, Barry Friedman, I Love Me More Than Sugar, and 30 Days Sugar Free. Look it up on Facebook. Appreciate you being with us today.
Thanks so much, Craig. Thanks for what you're doing. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, as I said, wouldn't you? Hopefully you enjoyed it, right? Barry's just a great guy. It's a lot of fun chatting with him about what is going on out there, what he's been doing, and he's done a lot, right? I think the most interesting people, frankly, are the people who have done a lot of different diverse experiences, and it helps me just overall. All right, so we got a couple more things we want to cover here today. One of them is the liability here on cloud services. We'll get to that in a little bit. Business ransomware, I think, is an important thing. We'll be talking about that, and the big tech taking advantage of our kids. But I want to kind of continue on with this theme. Where Barry was talking about sugar. And I know that, some diets are great for some people. They're not great for other people. And if you are a diabetic, of course, getting rid of some of the sugar can be problematic, right? I was a volunteer in the ambulance service for 10 years. And I had my advanced trainings and everything else. We would give D50 which is 50% dextrose, or to people, diabetics who were out of it, and take the blood samples and stuff so they could spin them up in the lab quickly when we got into the hospital. And probably if someone's having a diabetic emergency, that you got to get some sugar into them right away. So getting rid of sugar is a difficult thing for a diabetic. I personally have, as I mentioned before on the show, I have been really focused in on intermittent fasting, and it is very simple to do. And I've been following a doctor up at the University of Toronto, Dr. Fung, who has a number of books out on the subject. And before I started this, I read at least a half a dozen books on intermittent fasting. And there are so many ways to do intermittent fasting. I do it nowadays kind of the simple way. Basically, you want to go 12 hours a day at least without eating. And that's not hard when you get right down to it. Think about finishing dinner at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock at night, and then not having any snacks, not eating until 6 or 7 a.m. the next day. There's your 12 hours. And then the other thing to do with intermittent fasting is never, ever snack. Ever snack. Now, you can have dessert if you want. You can have ice cream, cake, pie. You can have any of that stuff that you might want to have, but have it with your meal. Don't wait an hour before you have dessert, or 2 hours or more. Have it right away, because what you're trying to do is control the insulin levels. Now, a better way to do it is what's called 16-8. And that is, instead of 12 hours of no food at all. Now, you can have water, you can have clear liquids, obviously no sugar, and you go for the 16 hours without eating. So basically that means if you stop at 6 p.m., by 6 a.m. you're at 12 hours, and you want another 4 hours left. So that means you could eat at 10 a.m. Or if you finish your meal at 7 p.m., which is the latest you should finish, that means you could eat at 11 a.m. the next morning. So you might skip breakfast. Again, no snacks, just black coffee or tea with no milk, and then you have your lunch at noon, and then you have your dinner at 4 or 5 or 6 o'clock, whatever works for you. You will lose weight. You will get healthier. If you are a diabetic or have other medical issues, you obviously want to talk to your doctor about it. But this can cure type 2 diabetes, just intermittent fasting. But the whole sugar thing, I think, is something any of us can do, even if you can't fast. Hey, Craig Peterson here, WGAN. Stick around. We got a lot coming up. Yeah, we're back into tech.